Welcome to Southern Crime, where we look at the cases that intrigue and mystify us. This podcast discusses serious crimes that may include triggers. It is meant for those 18 years and older. Listener discretion is advised. Please consider a donation through listener support to help us keep things going. While you're here, please smash that like and subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified. Would you like to join the discussion or suggest a case? Leave a comment below. And here we go. So on the night of July 22nd, 2015, a 911 call comes into Broken Arrow, Oklahoma's 911 center.
July 22nd, 2015, 11 hours 32 minutes and 25 seconds p.m.
Fair 911. Broken Arrow 911. Hello? Hi, where are you at?
Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, 7411.
What address?
709 Magnolia Court.
Okay. Are you the only one there?
No, my brother's attacking my family.
Your dad is attacking your family?
No, my brother. Yeah, I need to oh, millions of people out.
Okay, who's attacking your family?
What?
Who's attacking your family?
Yes.
Who is it? Do they have Are you there?
Hello?
Hi, what's going on there? What's going on there? Hello? Hello?
That phone call led police to 709 Magnolia Court in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. That call was made by 12-year-old Daniel Bever, who in the 911 call stated that his brother was attacking the family. Screaming, commotion, and a male voice were heard in the background before the line went dead. Dispatchers tracked the address by searching the number. They then tried to call David Bever, the father. After that failed, they dispatched officers to the scene. When the first responding officers arrived, they found blood around the porch of the house. They knocked on the door, heard a faint voice calling for help, and forced their way into the house. They immediately found 13-year-old Crystal Bever bleeding from multiple stab wounds. They pulled her out of the home and then searched the house, where they discovered Daniel Bever and the rest of the victims, who were all dead. It was believed that one of the brothers responsible for the killings lured out his victims by pretending he was under attack. Crystal Bever survived the brutal killings performed by her brothers, but was critically injured from her wounds. She identified the two brothers as the assailants, saying that they lured her to the bedroom before slitting her throat and stabbing her in the stomach and arms. She underwent surgery at a nearby hospital. The girl was initially reported to be the 911 caller. It was later confirmed that it was Daniel. A 2-year-old girl, Autumn Bever, was also found alive and unharmed inside the house. The surviving children were put in state custody. The parents, as well as 3 children, were all stabbed to death. Knives, hatchets, and other bladed weapons were found at the scene, along with protective gear. Law enforcement officials said at least some of the weapons found were used in the killings. There were 5 victims There was over 100 stab wounds between the 5 victims. David Bever, the father, was 52 years old. He was killed by at least 28 stab wounds to the torso, face, neck, left arm, and hand. April Bever, 42, was the mother. She was killed by blunt force trauma and more than 48 wounds to the head, neck, torso, arms, and hands. Daniel Bever, age 12, he was killed with 21 stab wounds to the back, shoulder, and chest. You hear his attack beginning in the 911 call. Victoria Bever, 5 years old, was killed by 23 stab wounds to both sides of the neck, her chest, back, and upper arm. Christopher Bever, age 7, 21 stab wounds to the back, chest, shoulder, and lower leg. Crystal Bever had a slit throat and stab wounds to the stomach and arms. She was 13. So why did they do it? You know, it's the age-old question. Well, why? There were some clues that came out. Neighbors said that the parents homeschooled their children and the children were not allowed to play with other children or have any interaction with neighbors, anything like that. Parents kept a very close eye on them. Neighbors said that they did not even know the full names of the family until the medical examiner released them. Neighbors also said that they had noticed strange behaviors from Robert and Michael Bever. Defense attorneys, and this was corroborated by Crystal Bever, stated that David, the father, was physically and verbally abusive towards his children, abusive to the point that he would sometimes throw children against the wall. April Bever was not violent, but she was very physically abusive, or very verbally abusive. Robert Bever claimed that both of his parents were hateful and abusive to him and all of his siblings. He said his parents would often talk about people they hated and refer to the biblical apocalypse as a retribution thing for everything they hated about the world. Robert Bever, the 18-year-old, confessed to committing the murders. He claimed that he and his brother planned the act for some time and intended to commit a shooting spree outside of the family, hoping it would rival and even outdo the 1999 Columbine High School massacre. He later confessed that he and his brother planned to dismember the bodies of their family, place them in storage bins, and hide them in the attic of their home. He also stated that they planned to steal the family car, shoot and kill 5 random people, each at multiple locations, and eventually achieve a body count of at least 50 people. One officer who interviewed Robert stated that he admired serial killers and hoped to strike in locations outside of Oklahoma and wanted to achieve a body count of at least 500 people or more. After the murders, the 2 suspects fled the scene through a back door of the house when they heard police arrive and headed into the woods behind the property. They were apprehended quickly with the use of a canine unit. In the pictures of Michael, you can see where his shirt is all torn apart, and it was reported that he had been bit by the canine. They were arrested without incident. The suspects were identified as 18-year-old Robert Bever, the oldest son, and 16-year-old Michael Bever, who was second oldest. Robert Bever was armed with a knife at the time of his arrest. One of the brothers spontaneously uttered that plans for the killing were stored on a flash drive inside the home. The flash drive was later retrieved by police when they searched the home for a second time. They also recovered computer equipment and video surveillance cameras, which they believe recorded the murders as they were located near where 3 of the victims' bodies were found. It was later determined that the brothers planned to make two videos, one depicting the bodies of their families that would be shown to investigators and prosecutors later on, the other without the bodies that could be posted online. Authorities have called the killings the worst single criminal event in Broken Arrow history. The brothers were charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of assault and battery with intent to kill. On July 25th, just a couple days later after it happened, authorities announced that Michael Bever would be charged as an adult. In Oklahoma, a conviction of first-degree murder carries the punishment of life or the death penalty. However, because he was 16 at the time of the murders, he would be exempt from a death sentence. The attorneys argued against the constitutionality of the decision to try Bever as an adult, stating that his client would die in prison, and that is the same as a death sentence. He also tried to argue that Bever should be rehabilitated instead of imprisoned if he was physically and emotionally abused at home. Investigators were also looking into a shipment of boxes containing a total of 3,000 rounds of ammunition that was believed to have been delivered on July 23rd. They also began investigating social media accounts belonging to Robert Bever. On July 6, 2016, it was reported that Robert Bever had attempted suicide by hanging with a bedsheet. A detention officer discovered him during a routine safety check. Medical staff cut him down and checked him, determining he was uninjured. He was then moved to suicide watch. In mid-February 2017, Broken Arrow's City Council announced a plan to raise money through the Tulsa Community Foundation to buy the Bever family home. They hoped that enough money could be raised to purchase the house from the Bever's mortgage holder and then to tear the house down and in its place create a memorial park and garden titled the Bever Family First Responders Memorial Park. The house was, interestingly enough, destroyed by fire about a month after that. On March 27th, 2019, 2 years after the fire, Reflection Park was dedicated in an official ceremony. A path meanders through a knoll of grass where the Bever family house once stood. The brothers were first arraigned in court on August 3rd. They both pled not guilty to the charges. Robert Bever eventually pled guilty to all counts and was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Michael Bever's trial began on April 16th, 2018, and on August 9th, 2018, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility or with the possibility of parole. Robert is currently in the Joseph Harp Correctional Center, and Michael is in the Lexington Correctional Center. So, what makes this happen? I'm going to play some of the interview from Michael, and it's kind of terrifying because he speaks so matter of fact about it. Here we go.
eBay user was? No. Okay. I just didn't know if you'd ever been on eBay and shopped or anything.
Well, I used to a long time ago, not like, novelty stuff.
Yeah.
So then how, so he was buying weapons because you guys had talked about murdering.
Yeah, and he started planning it.
Okay.
And I went along with it because I see the way I thought I would want to do it. I quickly learned tonight that I didn't.
Okay, that you didn't want to do it?
I don't want to do it. I didn't, just because I didn't kill anyone.
Okay.
I stabbed someone.
Who did you stab?
My younger brother, Christopher.
Christopher. How old is Christopher?
9, I think.
What did you stab him with?
My knife.
What's your knife look like?
It's green, kind of like camouflage on it, so like
On where your hand goes or where the blade is? It's camouflage?
Yeah, it's all camouflage.
Oh, the whole thing?
Yeah.
How big is it? Show me how big it is.
I think it's about this big.
Okay.
Handleable.
So what was Christopher doing when you stabbed him?
He was laying on the bathroom floor. Robert was also stabbing him. Robert asked me to go over and help him. So I stabbed Christopher and then,
Where did you stab him?
side of the neck.
Really? Okay. You okay? Yeah, you okay? Let me know if you need a break or anything, okay? So was Christopher still alive when you stabbed him?
Yes.
What was he saying and doing?
He was just screaming.
Did you say he was in the bathroom?
Yeah, he was next to the toilet, with that bathroom.
Who else was in the bathroom?
I think Victoria might have been in there. About
Victoria?
Yeah, my 4-year-old sister.
4-year-old, okay. I want to talk about that more, but we got to try to kind of stay like chronologically, if you know what I mean. So let's go back real quick. We talked about the ammunition being delivered, making plans. Tell me more about making plans and what you guys talked about.
Making plans, we plotted every night, and I started realizing we were actually going to do this on the second night. And so I started getting ready.
When was that? You second night, what do you mean?
July 1st,
Okay,
because we started June 30th.
that's when you started making the plan?
Yeah, that's when we found out you could buy guns legally.
I see. Did you guys make drawings or write things down?
I
Or
think he had the journal. The basic writing is ideas down. I think it's under his bed.
under his
I
bed?
haven't checked that out.
Is it like a journal, like a notepad or like a book?
It's like a blank book.
Okay.
A black book. I think it's like a little case.
So you think you wrote stuff in there?
Yeah, I think he was planning in it.
Huh. So then the second day you said that's when you realized that it might actually happen?
Yeah.
What made you realize that?
How serious he was. I mean, he was going through. He started planning on taking all of his money out of his bank and throwing away all his stuff. So
Why did he want to do it?
to kill people.
Yeah.
Well, mainly 2 reasons. I think it's because he just he says he hates everyone. He thinks society is pointless, and so he wanted to kill people. And also he wanted to beat the kill amount of other famous people like Columbine and James Egan Holmes.
Okay. Did you kind of feel that way too? Like when you guys were talking earlier,
Yeah.
do you have a problem with society too, do you think?
No,
Or you were just more like the number of people getting killed was kind of interesting and exciting?
Yeah.
Okay. So, because you mentioned a couple names are those like serial killers or something?
What, like Columbine?
Yeah.
Columbine and James Egan Holmes. James Egan Holmes is a guy that shot up the theater.
In Colorado?
Yeah, he killed 12 and
Wow. How many were killed in Columbine?
Columbine, I don't know, 15,
Okay.
I think.
So did you guys have a goal? Did you have a number?
He just wanted, I think he wanted to kill 50.
Okay.
I don't have a goal.
So so as the planning goes, tell me what plans you started making and coming up with.
Well, originally, I think kind of stayed steady throughout the month. So we wanted to kill everyone at the house first,
Okay.
and then wait for all the packages to show up over the weekend. Then we would take the Yukon and we'd drive out of state with the guns and start killing, rampaging.
Did you know where you were going to drive to?
Towards Washington.
Washington State or DC?
Washington State.
Washington State. Why would you go to Washington State?
It's kind of it's kind of the direction we planned on.
And you said Yukon. Do your parents have like a Yukon? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a large Yukon XL.
Does Robert have a driver's license?
He has a loan school.
Okay. So he would be able to drive it. Can you drive if you had to?
No, I couldn't.
Well, you can play video games, sure, you can drive a car. Just not very well. I mean, you could get it from point A to B. You might hit some things on the way, but okay. So you had your plan. So what happened after? I mean, tell me some more.
Well, I think everything started falling in place.
Kleenex right there for your mom. Yeah, Kleenex right there.
There we go.
Cool.
Or maybe it's from your finger, I don't know. Yeah.
But back a week before is when I started throwing away useless stuff.
Okay.
And weed. and so did he.
Did you guys like give things away to friends or anything like that, or
Threw it
just
in the trash. I'm sure a lot of it's still in the barrels in the big village.
in the garage?
Yeah,
What kind of stuff did you throw away?
random stuff, toys, stuff that was just piled up in my closet and he had the room to put the body on.
Oh, I see.
Old shoes, clothes.
Did you have, how long have you had the body armor?
Body armor? Robert's had his probably since it started ago, and we've been buying it. Well, he's been buying it.
And
Oh,
was it shipped to the house?
Good.
Do your parents know? I mean, did they know?
They knew he had a bulletproof vest. They always thought that was a little loud, but they didn't say anything about it.
Did he have anything else like the gear that guys wear, helmets or goggles or gloves?
He had a soft Kevlar vest, a heavy, I don't know, it's like a metal plated vest,
Okay.
level 3 and a level 3. He had a helmet, bulletproof helmet, a bulletproof DEA mask, and Legos.
Wow.
Also like a knife proof
Arm thing.
Yeah, a knife and balaclava.
Okay.
So yeah, it's,
And then the body armor that you had, what was it like?
it was almost identical.
Okay.
Just a couple of different models and stuff.
And where is your body armor now?
All my vests and my helmets, it was laying in the woods. The dog pulled it off of me. I
Oh,
was wearing it.
oh, you were wearing it.
Yeah, I was wearing this vest and the plate carrier and the
Okay.
helmet. So they took that, and the rest of my body armor was still in the closet.
Okay. So then kind of what happened is, I mean, you guys started getting all that stuff together and
Yeah,
throwing things away and
yeah, and redoing all the packages and the holsters, outguards, all that stuff was going to get heavy from Amazon. And so we set a date.
so was the plan, to use the knives at first on the family?
Here's an answer.
Because the guns weren't gonna be here till later on?
Yeah, and the guns would be too loud.
Oh, I see.
So, I'm going to use the knives on the family, which obviously did not go as planned.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah,
Oh, I just sort of the red swords right now. Like, we didn't go move them. I did.
yeah. Did, so then you picked a date, you said.
Yeah, which was yesterday night. That was the date.
Did you pick a time and everything?
Yeah, midnight when most everyone was in bed except for Mom.
So how did you guys know? He just came and got you, or you got him, or what did you guys do?
We were hanging out in the bedroom waiting.
Okay, and so.
How'd you pick the date?
It involved again with the packages and stuff we have. Because all the ammunition, he didn't want them to see that. So we killed him the day before the ammunition would get held the day after we leave.
Do you guys not like your mom and dad? I mean, most teenagers don't like their parents, so I can understand that.
Yeah, I mean, Mom was okay, but Dad was a little bit,
Just a little bit too much.
yes.
So you guys waiting in the room,
Mhm.
and was it right when midnight, and that's when things started?
Right at midnight, my sister, she came in because she was getting to go to bed. She came in to tell us.
I was,
13.
okay,
She came in to tell us that Mom wanted us to get the kitchen done before we went to bed and put the cats up. And it's basically, we did what we planned. I got to my desk and I had to look at something to just get to roll up or went up behind her, grabbed her and slit her throat.
really? What did he use?
His large red knife.
Okay, a large red knife?
Yeah, it's like mine.
How big is it?
It's like mine, only red.
Oh, I see.
And then she fell to the ground screaming. Mom and Dad, Mom came in first, and then she was
Did
in
you
the
room
hallway.
upstairs or something? I don't know, I haven't been to your house, so I don't know.
Her room is downstairs. It's towards the back of the
Okay.
house.
And so she fell down, started screaming.
Yeah, one of them kept stabbing her. I kind of freaked out because,
Mhm.
it wasn't funny.
Were you saying anything, or, I mean,
I just stood there.
okay,
And then Mom came in yelling, call the police. And then he went over and stabbed her.
then he stabbed her?
Yeah, he probably stabbing her, pushed her, flipped her down the hallway. And got up and ran.
Okay.
She ran out the door.
Okay, so she sat down at your desk, and he slit her throat, you
Well,
said?
she was standing at my desk
Oh,
and
I
came
see.
up behind and slit her throat, then she fell down screaming.
And then he stabbed her some more? When he was stabbing her some more, where was he stabbing her?
Her neck,
Oh, her neck.
her neck and
So, okay.
And then my mom came in and she started yelling, call the police, get Dad. And then he came over and started attacking her. They actually got up and ran out the front door.
Wow.
And once Mom was on the ground, he got up and started chasing after her.
And what were you doing? Did you come out in the hallway?
No, I was just standing in the room in the process. I don't know what I was doing.
So he stabbed your mom with the same knife?
Gotcha.
And where did he stab her?
I think in the neck too.
Okay.
And no, actually, he stabbed her in the neck, pushed her into the kitchen, and then scared her. So with her, she started screaming and ran into the family. At the same time, he realized I left the house.
Okay.
I ran over and disabled the alarm.
Okay.
That's what I did. And then
Where's the pad for your alarm?
It's not the front door.
It's what?
It's now the front door.
Near the front door?
Yeah, and so I ran over and disabled the alarm server.
But has she already gone outside?
She ran outside and then Robert went after her.
So where did she?
She was laying in the driveway and he took her back the bench, front yard, and started choking her.
Like on the bench out front?
Yeah, it was like a little bench, and they threw the bench on her and went back inside to go after the little kids.
Did he bring her in, or did she stay out there?
She stayed out there until he asked me to be in her, and I ran out. I had to go inside. That's why she's in the entryway. I had to go inside.
So you brought her back in?
Yeah,
she's still alive?
Yeah, she was still screaming. And then that's about the time Dad came down.
Okay.
Because his bedroom's upstairs. And he went back in the boys' area where Robert was. Boys' area, that's what they call it, our room. And they started attacking Dad. They got a little bit of a fight. But then eventually, Robert got him down and I think he killed him.
Did he cut his throat too? Where did that happen?
In our room.
In your room?
Yeah.
And where were you?
I was standing in the hallway.
Okay. So did you see him cut your dad's throat?
Yeah.
Did he stab him other places too?
I don't know. I think he just went for the throat.
And where was she? Was in the entryway?
Yeah, she was. I think she was in the entryway at that time. And then he went in, and Daniel was in his room, which is down the hall. And I was like, "Let me in."
How was Daniel?
I think he's 12.
Okay.
And I was like, "Let me in," and he let me in. He was sitting on the phone with the police. I grabbed the phone, which is my phone. Got my phone. And then I went into the kitchen and I smashed the underground. So,
Which was your phone?
Yeah, it was my phone.
Oh. And you don't have a cell phone anymore.
And then I went back down, and and Daniel and Christopher locked himself in the bathroom. Daniel locked himself in Dad's office.
Okay.
And then I finally got both of them to open the door, because they thought I wanted in there.
But they were in different rooms?
Yeah, they're right next to each other. Right?
Oh, I see.
And then Robert went in and stabbed him. They went in and stabbed Christopher. That's when I stabbed Christopher.
So when he stabbed Daniel, where did he stab Daniel?
I think he shanked him in the neck, and then Daniel ran off, and so I went in and started attacking Christopher.
So Daniel got stabbed in the neck and ran off?
Yeah.
Where did you run to?
He ran into the family room about Mom. Mom ended up, she was laying on the ground yelling, "Call 911."
Okay. And he stopped in there?
Yeah, he collapsed in there, and then Margo came in and started stabbing him in the chest.
Oh, I see. And then who's the youngest, the 4-year-old?
The 4-year-old, I don't know what happened with her. I hope she's alive.
I'm sorry, I messed up. The one that you stabbed, who was that?
Christopher.
Christopher, that's what I'm trying to say. He's 8. And he was in the bathroom.
Yep.
So Daniel had got stabbed in the neck, ran out to where your mom was.
Yeah.
Robert followed him, stabbed him some more.
Yeah, after we stabbed Christopher in the bathroom.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then basically after that, everyone was pretty much dead. We forgot about all.
Who was dead?
Everyone, I think,
Okay.
looked like they were dead, except for she was lying in the interview screaming. Then there was a knock at the door.
Okay.
Someone knocked at the door. I think that might be the neighbor, because the police wouldn't have been there yet. And then they just kept knocking on the door. So we turned around. I grabbed on, put my soft vest and heavy vest on. I was carrying the plates. I put my helmet on. And then we went out the back door of Daryl's office, climbed over the fence, went down into the park, and started cutting through the woods.
Okay.
We both collapsed. And we saw we were just sitting there. and they found us.
That's how you got kind of dirty and stuff, dirt on you. So you guys collapsed. Or were you just kind of hiding out?
Yeah, we were just laying in a little ditch thing in the woods, and then we saw the light and we lay down, and the dog came over.
Did you hear the dog coming?
Mm-hmm. I heard him coming, I saw him coming, and then they started yelling, "Put your hands up."
Mm-hmm.
And I stepped on my head and handcuffed me.
Okay.
Can you okay, I'm a little bit lost, I think because there's too many people in this house. There's you, there's Robert,
Yeah,
okay, you're 16, he's 18, then who's next?
yeah, she's the third oldest. She was the first one.
Okay, and then Daniel,
And then Christopher.
then Christopher,
And then Victoria.
Victoria,
And then,
she's 4.
yeah, Victoria's 4.
Okay, and what's mom's name?
April.
April?
April Bever, unmarried maiden name, if you could call it, is Shelby.
Sharp?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and Victoria's 4,
Mm-hmm.
and then what's dad's name?
David.
David? Okay.
David.
And then, are there any other kids? How many kids is that? That's,
Then that was, she's a baby, she's about to turn 2 toddler. She was up in her bed. I think he forgot about her. And I think she stayed asleep until the police came. I saw them give her out, so she's okay.
so you saw them carrying her out?
Yeah, I was in the car.
Was that the plan, was to kill her too, though?
We just want to get everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when y'all got done at the house, where were you gonna go?
We were going to hang out there for at least the day. We were going to get the bodies in a room or something in the attic. Clean up and then wait for the ammunition, go pick up the guns, and think we'll leave the next day.
Where were you gonna go? I mean, where was gonna be your mass plan to get the most bang for your buck?
We're just heading generally towards Washington State. We're going to do it statewide.
Did you guys have, like, were you gonna go, I mean, who else were you gonna kill? Just whoever you ran into?
Yeah, pretty much. We said 5 at a time, like gas stations, restaurants.
Okay, and then just keep going. Did he have some money saved up or something?
Yeah, he had about 480 after buying all the ongoing weapons. Plus
He still had that?
Yeah, plus 100 I had.
Oh, okay. So we talked a lot about your plan.
So that is part of the interview with Michael Bever, the 16-year-old. I have always been amazed at how matter of fact and calm he is, describing everything like he was talking about a family picnic that they went on, which has always led me to wonder, could he be rehabilitated? Was he just broken from the situation that he had been in and not being around other families to see that, what he lived was not normal? Like I think a lot of abused children see when they're, not in a position where they can't interact with anybody. There's no school, there's no neighbors, there's no other kids to play with, there's no family. So it is only what they have in their home and what they are seeing and what their parents are saying, this is the way things are. And growing up that way, I do wonder if rehabilitation would have been the right answer for him. Maybe time will tell that he does have some improvement. Like I said, he got life with the possibility of parole. So maybe one day in the future, he will be safe for society to let him out. His brother Robert will not get out of jail. Um, if you watch the video that I'm going to put up on YouTube that goes with this, it will include drawings that Michael made. They're from his jailhouse journal. They are childlike drawings that you would expect the style of them to be a preschooler or kindergartner, maybe a first grader, maybe. They're just so they're stick figures and really bad writing and, just a couple of words, and they really if you think of the drawings that your children made when if you have children, when they were 4, 5, 6 years old with the little stick figures and a scene, that is what these look like. Except that they talk about James Holmes, the Aurora, Colorado movie shooter, being a hero, and um, Jim Jones being a hero, and tell a story of, one day two brothers hated their family, so then they killed him, basically. Um, I hope that they are getting help, or at least the younger one is. Michael is getting help, counseling. He's in jail, so I'm not sure how much of that he's getting. I am curious to know if they did psych testing on either one of them and, what that showed. It does make me wonder. I do know that Michael's sentence was upheld in, I believe, 2020. So, I guess they had not found anything that great to get him off on. But that is the Bever family and the horrible tragedy that happened in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Thank you all. We will see you later.